Good morning, folks. Welcome to another of our devotionals. Today we're going to look at verses 4 and 5 of Psalm 42. Let me read those verses to you. The psalmist says, "These things I remember as I pour out my soul, how I would go with the throng and lead them in procession to the house of God with glad shouts and songs of praise, a multitude keeping festival. Why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you in turmoil within me? Hope in God, for I shall praise him, my salvation and my God." The opening words of verse 4 can be understood in two ways. Either the psalmist is recalling the days when he used to go to public worship with God's people, and because he can no longer do so, is becoming more and more downcast. Such memories are, if you like, feeding his frustration and his sorrow at this difficult time. Alternatively, it could be that the psalmist turns his thoughts to previous days when he was free of trouble and enjoyed going to God's house with God's people, praising God. And the thought of these things actually encouraged and fed his faith and his hope that in due time he would once again experience such days. Thus, memory encouraged faith and crushed despair. Now, given that verse 5 follows verse 4, and if you read verse 5, you'll see what I'm talking about. Given that being the case, I do believe that the proper way to understand verse 4 is that it is a pathway to faith and hope. That's the way the biblical commentator Leupold takes it. He translates verse 4 as follows: "These things I will remember," referring to going to God's house and the good days that he had. And the point that Leupold makes is that he's going to think about and find encouragement and hope in reflecting upon times when things were better for him. Times when he was able to go to God's house with the people of God. And in thinking of the good times in the past that he enjoyed, he then speaks to himself and encourages himself by affirming things will get better. Verse 5. Now, the principle here, folks, is this: memories of God's blessings and God's grace to us in the past can be a source of comfort and hope and assurance to us in days of difficulty and days of trial. One writer puts it like this: the psalmist resolves to recall a helpful and pleasant experience of the past, both to cheer himself because it was pleasant and to strengthen himself because it may again become his. Memories of past blessings feed faith in present trials. There's also the principle here of allowing faith to speak into our circumstances. So in verse 5, the psalmist talks to himself. "Why are you cast down, O my soul? Why are you so much in turmoil within you?" It's as if he's saying to himself, come on now. No need to be so down. Look forward in faith. Remember how God dealt with you in the past. Believe and know that this difficulty you're facing will soon give way to better days. Spurgeon says, "A loss of the present sense of God's love is not a loss of that love itself. We all know that the sun may be behind clouds and therefore we don't feel its heat, but the sun is still there nonetheless. Thinking back on all of God's goodness to us in the past forms a stepladder by which, one step at a time, we are able to extricate ourselves from the pit of despair. Those memories of God's grace are the steps that allow us to climb out of the pit. So allow all that God has done for you in the past to stimulate your faith in the present. May God bless you today.